It is time to talk about the very best comic books of the week. And I'm going to be honest, this was not a great week as far as DC or Marvel, just not a whole lot there. But we do have a few really good independent comic books to talk about. And here to talk with me about that is Drew from Comics Lead. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing great, Wes. It's a beautiful day outside. Let's talk about some great comics.
Let's do it. Let's hit the first one. This is a recommend from myself. From Image Comics, Do a Powerbomb #3, Daniel Warren Johnson, writing and illustrating. This thing is absolutely brilliant. It's such a multi-layered story. You come in for the pro wrestling fun and nonsense and whatnot, and you really get this insane story about Loda, and her mother died in the ring, and the guy that killed her, and she has to team up with them, and they're going to enter a tag team tournament or something you would expect to see at WrestleMania. But the stakes are real in this comic book, and it's just such a fun thing to experience. The art is as good as you would imagine from Daniel Warren Johnson. I can't believe the story and the characters are so gripping, and it's so much fun. You know, it's got a sense of humor about it as well.
With this issue, it's pretty much setting everything up to the big fight, which is right around the staple point or a little bit after that. But the fight is really damn good, and the fight with the baboons, right, that they're fighting, I think? Yeah, it is hysterical. I loved it. It was great. And then we get a little tease in the next issue of the tag team. They got to fight next, and that's a vicious finisher that they got. I thought that was pretty clever and pretty funny. But yeah, this is a very fun, in-depth series that Daniel Warren Johnson's doing. I grew up with wrestling. I'm not as knowledgeable as you are, but I know a little bit. So I do enjoy this, and I do recommend this. This is a very fun series from Image Comics.
Daniel Warren Johnson, he's the best thing going on indie comics. The guy can take anything obscure and just make it amazing. You can see he loves pro wrestling, but you can see he loves great storytelling as well in this story. Can't recommend that one high enough. It's definitely creeping up the list for best comic book series of 2022, in my opinion. Now let's go over to something I was absolutely over the moon for. I was really excited. Barbaric in 2021 was amazing. I was ready for Axe to Grind. We got the one shot not too long ago. But Axe to Grind #1 is here from Vault Comics. Michael Moreci, Nathan Gooden. So happy to see Nathan Gooden return as the artist. I understand they had to fill in artists for the one shot, and it didn't look nearly as good. But it really feels like they captured a lot of the original magic from the series. We start out, there's vampires involved. You have an Axe that has an attitude that loves to drink blood. You know that's going to turn out to be some really good storytelling. He's got to save some of his friends before we can go on this bigger journey. It was just a lot of fun. I'm glad that they were able to really get back to the essence of the original.
Absolutely. This issue was just fun, and last series was just fun. And I like you said, the Axe, I love his reaction to attempting to drink vampire blood. That is hysterical. And like you said, the artist Gooden, he's back. I met him at C2E2. He was doing commissions. His commissions are just as good as the work on the page. It is ridiculous. But except we get vampires in this. But what's great about this, I noticed, maybe it's just me, I don't know if you noticed this, it looks like a mirror universe version of He-Man and Conan on an adventure together in this issue. Maybe it's
There's
me.
Definitely is some inspiration from He-Man and Conan. Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, I saw that. I'm like, this is pretty damn good. I like that. And yeah, it's very well drawn, well paced, fun dialogue. Yeah, this is a strong recommend. Cannot recommend this enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one shot, but this is exactly what I was looking for. This is the step up back to what I really wanted from this one. Why it was on my comic books that I was really, anticipating for this year. Now let's go over to something I wasn't planning on reading. The Last SHADOWHAWK #1 from Image Comics. Philip Tan, amazing artist. Brian Haberlein co-scripting. I think Daniel Henriquez is the inker on this one. Obviously, this is a Valentino original character we're revisiting here, and this is essentially the final days of the Last SHADOWHAWK. Is apparently what he's done throughout his lifetime has come back to finally roost, and he's got to pay the piper, and they're trying to inspire him to get back up, but he feels like he's had enough. And this thing is absolutely brutal. It is just a series of splash pages. Mm-hmm. That is the entire series. There's no one page or two page. It's all splash images. Philip Tan definitely letting his tail feathers shake. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Philip Tan, I mean, he did a terrific job in this. Every page is fantastic. Every page is beautiful. There is not a page wasted in this at all. Like you said, this is the Last SHADOWHAWK story, legit end of story. And at the end, it's a very fitting ending to the character, because if you go back to those 90s stories and really remember what he did to people, it was very vicious. It was brutal. It was life-changing and life-ending in some cases. So, yeah, like you said, the chickens come home to roost for SHADOWHAWK in this. And, yeah, it's a very fitting ending for the character. And, I was shocked it went there. They actually did it. and it was so well told, so well illustrated that I could not recommend this enough. It blew my mind. I was not expecting this fitting of an ending for this character.
I wasn't planning on reading it, but then you recommended it, and then I saw the cover. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go read that. Let me go pick that up real quick. And I'm glad I did. That thing was just a masterclass in art. You're also going a little bit different here. Shirtless Bear Fighter Volume 2, Number 1, Jody, LeHeup, and Neil Vendrell on art. I didn't read the first volume of Shirtless Bear Fighter that I think came out like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even realize it was coming back for a sequel.
Neither did we. And like when I first met Sean, when he very first opened the store, the first book he had on the table was Shirtless Bear Fighter. And I was there from the very beginning reading it with my brother Kyle. We all of us, we were laughing reading this book. We thought it was one of the funniest, one of the smartest pun-filled book. Even though puns are considered the lowest form of jokes, the puns are hysterical in this. They are terrific. They're amazing. And this character is fantastic. And we were shocked to see it coming back. And it is still very damn funny. It is what you get in the title. He is a shirtless bear fighter, and he is punching bears, right across the face. Love it. He's fighting bear wrists. He's fighting huge gummy bears he's got to take down. If you enjoy clever, funny puns and enjoy testosterone-filled comics, you're going to love this. I don't want to spoil the fun. Just please check this out. Shirtless Bear Fighter 2, number 1.
It certainly has a good cover. Actually, it had about like 8 or 9 covers on this thing. I think that's the image I ended up showing on that one. There's another comic book that puts the funny back in funny books. Justice Warriors number 3 from Ahoy Comics, Matt Bors, Ben Clarkson. We get to see the further adventures of a pile of feces that is a police officer. Looks like there's some riots going on. Just a lot of having some fun on modern day society is mostly what it looks like.
You are 100% correct in that, Wes, because what's very smart and very good and clever here with this book, unlike a lot of books with Marvel or DC, is that they're able to make everyone look ridiculous on all sides, which is great. That is how you do it. If you're going to poke fun at someone, if you're going to poke fun at like what happened 2 years ago with the quote unquote peaceful protests or the mostly peaceful protests or the Summer of Love, you got to go after everyone, police, rioters, protest, everyone. And they do just that. It is hysterical. And it looks like in the next issue, they're going to have fun with like the chide or the chive that happened in Seattle with that little Chop City. But it is very clever, very funny. And if you want to see a creative team that is very original and creative, check out Justice Warriors number 3.
Always like it when we can have a chance to return to the funny books when it comes to comics. Everything's so serious nowadays. Definitely go check out Justice Warriors if you're looking for something that's a little bit more lighthearted. Now, I'd love to talk about Marvel Comics here, Drew, but there's nothing from Marvel that I can recommend.
Yeah, likewise. I couldn't. Yeah, I was going through my list. I'm like, I could not in a strong conscience recommend anything from Marvel. Yeah.
It's just a real down week all kind of across the board. Obviously, from DC Comics, the big recommend is going to be Batman, Superman, World's Finest number 6, Mark Waid, Travis Moore coming in as a fill-in artist. Obviously, we just got off the big Devil Nazar story arc. We've lost Robin. And this is a nice little kind of a palate cleanser as far as a comic book story. More of a golden age feel rather than the silver age that we were getting in the last story. Robin's lost. He's in a circus, and he's solving some murders and stuff like that. I really like this. It felt like a return to old school comic book storytelling. When you told something truly over the top and really heavy, you always got that nice palate cleanser to kind of bring you back down before you got back into the next big story that was going to take you over the top. Mark Waid is at the top of his craft. I never thought we would need him in DC Comics, but the proof is in the pudding. Batman, Superman, World's Finest is amazing, and I love this issue.
A lot of people, creators, compare it to music. It tracks on an album, or it's like you can't have every album the fastest, the most intense. At some points you're going to dip down. You're going to go a little bit slower. You're going to bring it back down before you bring it back up. This is like we're bringing it back down a little bit, but it's a nice, fun side quest story, which is great. And it's Dick Grayson back in the circus, and he's getting to live out that dream that he never really had after what happened to his family tragically in the circus. And like I said, he's also solving some murders are going on. It is great stuff. And who come in to help him out, that's great too. It fits perfectly. I loved it. And yeah, Mark Waid is, thank God for Mark Waid coming back to DC and saving the day with giving us the best title from DC right now with Batman, Superman, World's Finest.
If you like old school DC comics, there's nothing better on the market. I understand a lot of people don't like Mark Waid. I find him a little bit reprehensible myself, just as a human being. But as a comic book writer, apparently at DC, he is the best that they have. And it's right there waiting to be discovered. Can't recommend that one high enough. And that's about it. It's a smaller week this week, Drew. You know, we had 5 indie comics. We had 1 DC. Nothing really from Marvel there. You got any other final words before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, I do want to encourage everyone to please go to their local comic book shop and ask your comic book shop owner if they have ordered Born of Blood from the Lunar catalog. The FOC, the final order cutoff, is August 28th. That is like the next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday. So don't automatically assume your store is going to order that book. I mean, a lot of people assume that. No, a lot of store owners, it's a risk, ordering indie books. They don't know if they're going to be big or not. But please do encourage your store owner to set you aside a copy for Born of Blood #1. I strongly encourage you to do that. I really believe you'll enjoy the story I've written. We have a lot of great stories to come with Giaris, and trust me, you will not feel like your money is wasted.
At the end of 2021, I talked about the 10 best comic book stories of the entire year. Not surprisingly, Barbaric from Mark Moreci is on there, but also there's an amazing story from Danny Warren Johnson as well. Definitely check this out if you're looking for some really good comic books. These aren't new per se, but they're not that old either. You can definitely still pick them up, and this is the best that you can find. And if you're on a mobile device, I know you're not going to see this, so there's a link in the video description as well.